Beginning. The desert on Kepler. 442b did not forgive weakness. Its crimson sands shifted like a living sea, whispering against my boots as I walked alone beneath a sky split by two suns, one white, one dying red. Heat shimmered in waves that bent the horizon, and every breath tasted metallic, as if the planet itself disapproved of my presence. I was not supposed to be there. Humans were guests on Kepler. 442b, tolerated observers, minor traders, expendable envoys. We were never meant to walk beyond the shielded cities or enter sacred zones. And we were certainly never meant to stand within sight of the throne of glass and bone. But desperation has a way of pushing rules aside. I had come as part of the Earth Coalition's cultural exchange program, a polished name for political begging. Our world was collapsing under resource exhaustion and climate instability. The Galactic Accord had solutions: technology, terraforming knowledge, energy synthesis, but they were controlled by ancient species who measured time in millennia and judged civilizations harshly. At the center of it all stood the Aurelian Dominion, and at its heart ruled Queen Sereth Exenal. She was not merely a monarch. She was a myth given form. The Aurelians were tall, luminous beings whose skin shimmered like liquid opal and whose eyes held fractal constellations. They lived for thousands of years, guided by strict genetic codes and ceremonial bonds. Love, as humans understood it, was considered chaotic, dangerous, and mating with an outsider? Unthinkable. I was only a junior linguist, sent to observe and translate ceremonial speech. My job was to remain silent, invisible. But from the moment I first saw her, during the Ascension Conclave, silence became impossible. Queen Sereth sat upon her throne, grown, not built, from crystalline bone harvested from a long-dead star Leviathan. Light bent around her like she was a gravitational well. Her crown hovered above her brow, a halo of living metal responding to her neural field. When her eyes passed over the chamber, entire delegations lowered their gaze. Except me. I didn't mean to meet her eyes. But when I did, something shifted, a pressure behind my sternum, a tightening in my throat. Her gaze lingered, just a fraction longer than protocol allowed. And in that moment, I made the most foolish wish of my life. I wish I could marry her. I whispered under my breath, certain no one could hear me over the hum of the energy pylons. I thought it was just a wish. I was wrong. Middle. The first sign that something had changed came 3 minutes later. The conclave was in full session. Representatives debated Earth's fate in cold, calculated terms, population ratios, ecological burden, long-term viability. I translated silently, my hands shaking as Sereth's presence seemed to press against my thoughts. Then the chamber fell quiet. The queen rose. Aurelian silence was not absence of sound. It was command. Even the ambient systems dimmed as she turned, slowly, deliberately, until her gaze locked directly onto me. Every protocol officer stiffened. Every elder recoiled. Her voice echoed without amplification, resonating through bone and nerve. Who spoke the unregistered wish? My blood ran cold. I tried to convince myself she meant something else, some ritual anomaly, some psychic disturbance. But her eyes never left mine. An Aurelian guard stepped forward. Your radiance, the humans are unbound telepaths. Any stray thought. I did not ask for excuses, Sereth said calmly. I asked for truth. The chamber waited. I stood. My legs barely obeyed me. It was me, I said, my voice trembling despite my training. But it meant nothing. I didn't know you could. She descended from the throne. Each step caused the crystalline floor to bloom with light. When she stood before me, the air felt denser, charged with unfamiliar energy. Up close, she was terrifying and breathtaking in equal measure. You wish for union, she said. Do you understand what such a desire implies among my people? I know it was inappropriate, I said quickly. I never meant to offend. Her lips curved, not quite a smile, but something close. Then I accept. The words detonated across the chamber. Aurelian elders shouted in harmonic outrage. Guards raised weapons. Human delegates froze, their translators struggling to process what they'd just heard. I stared at her. You what? You made a wish, she replied. And by ancient law, a queen may accept or deny any unregistered desire spoken within the conclave if it resonates with her core. Her eyes glowed brighter. Yours did. Chaos erupted. The elders accused her of destabilizing genetic purity. The military warned of rebellion. The Galactic Accord demanded immediate suspension of the session. And Earth? Earth suddenly had leverage it never dreamed of. Within hours, I was escorted, not imprisoned, not honored, but contained within a living chamber adjacent to the royal spire. Aurelian scientists scanned me relentlessly. Priests debated whether my presence was an omen or an infection. Sereth visited me that night. She dismissed the guards and stood alone with me beneath a ceiling that displayed the galaxy in real time. You are afraid, she said. Yes, I admitted. I don't belong here. I don't even understand why you chose me. She approached, her movements fluid, deliberate. Aurelians are bound by predetermined pairings. Our unions are efficient, predictable, emotionless. She paused. But I have ruled for 9 centuries. I have followed every rule. And yet, your wish was not driven by ambition or survival. It was longing. I swallowed. That doesn't make me worthy. Worthy is irrelevant, she replied. Transformative is not. Over the following weeks, my world unraveled. I was subjected to the trial of resonance, an ancient rite meant to test compatibility between bonded beings. Against all probability, my neural patterns synchronized with hers. My emotions, volatile, imperfect, did not destabilize her. They amplified her. The people noticed. Where Sereth had once ruled with distant precision, she now spoke with empathy. Where judgments were once final, they became adaptive. Crime rates dropped. Border conflicts eased. The Dominion began to change. And not everyone approved. A faction of Aurelian purists plotted quietly, convinced that I was a contaminant, a Trojan horse of human chaos. Assassination attempts followed. Political sabotage. One night, the spire itself was breached. I was nearly killed protecting her. I remember the feel of plasma tearing through my side, the smell of ionized air, her scream echoing through the chamber as she held me, luminous blood dripping onto human skin. She saved me, but the cost was clear. You will tear my empire apart, she said later, her voice raw. Then send me away, I replied. I never asked for this. She looked at me for a long time. I know, she said softly. That is why I cannot. Ending. The final challenge came not from rebels or elders, but from the law itself. Aurelian tradition demanded a union ascension, a public binding ritual before the Dominion. If I failed, the queen would be forced to renounce me or abdicate. Billions watched across star systems. I stood before the throne once more, scars still healing, heart pounding louder than the ceremonial drums. Sereth faced me, her crown blazing with living light. Do you enter this union knowing it will change both our species forever? The High Arbiter asked. I do, I said. And do you accept the loss of your former life, your former world? I thought of Earth, of its oceans, its noise, its flawed beauty. Yes, I said, but not its hope. The Arbiter turned to the Queen. Do you bind yourself to this outsider? Sereth stepped forward, her hand extended toward mine. I do, she said, because evolution does not come from perfection, but from connection. The moment our hands touched, the spire erupted in light. Aurelian and human neural fields intertwined, not as dominance, but as balance. The Dominion's genetic lattice adapted in real time, opening pathways thought impossible. The purists fled or adapted. Earth was granted not charity, but partnership. And as the galaxy reeled from the implications, Sereth leaned close and whispered something only I could hear. You thought it was just a wish, she said gently. I smiled, tears in my eyes. So did I.